first thing I want to do is share this fun video that I made of this book I'm about to put out in just about a week. It's awesome. I love it. You're going to like it. It's called Warfare Qualified. Check it out. Pretty good, huh? Anyway, back to writing, and back to my boy Carl. We're going to talk another thing about another video he put out here called 3 People Who Will Destroy Your Novel, and You're Not Going to Believe Who He Thinks They Are. Or maybe you will. Let's go see.
But your novel is under threat. Not from AI or paper-eating insects or like water damage or anything, but from something much more terrifying. People. Some of the people you encounter out in the real world, should you ever dare venture into it, are not good for your novel. Some of them will outright destroy it. So let's talk about some of these folks and what you can do to prevent them from hurting your manuscript or whatever. Beginning with...
There's a reason why God invented concealed carry. I'm just kidding. Anyway.
The worst type of critic you will encounter. There are basically 3 types of critics that most writers will encounter out there. You have your critique partners, editors, beta readers. These are folks...
They all suck.
...that will give you legitimate advice on how to improve your writing.
Beta readers might. Critique partners, they're amateurs. Professional editors can be helpful.
And you should generally listen to their criticisms when they make sense and make changes based on those criticisms. Next, you have what I'm going to call, and pardon my French here, the negative Nellies. I should probably bleep that out or I'm going to upset a bunch of advertisers. These are basically just trolls who want to trash you and discourage you for all sorts of psychological reasons that mostly have stuff to do with them and not really stuff to do with you.
Yeah, it's envy because you're doing something they couldn't do. Or they want to do but haven't bothered to try to do. Or just because they're evil.
These types of people can be ignored most of the time, usually. Although that's kind of a tough thing to do sometimes. Their opinions don't really matter. They're usually ignorant and uninformed. And they're basically just criticizing you to get a rise out of you. Those 2 types of critics are not the worst types of critics, though. The worst types of critics that most novel writers need to deal with are well-meaning people in your life who will unconsciously try to keep you from improving. There's a few different terms for this. Some people call it the tall poppy syndrome. Other people...
I've never heard of that. A term that originated in Australia and New Zealand in the 1980s. It refers to people with notable public success who excessively promote their own achievements and opinions. Then scrutiny in terms of cutting down the tall poppy. Oh, okay. So you want to cut down the person who's doing better than you. Okay. Got it. Okay. That makes sense.
People refer to it as the crabs in a bucket theory.
Yeah, we all know that one.
When you have a bucket full of live crabs and one of the crabs tries to climb out of the bucket, but all the other crabs just sort of drag them back down with their crab hand things. I forget what those...
Their claws. And this is what critique groups are notorious for. It's all a bunch of amateur writers. Nobody knows what they're really talking about. And as soon as one of them starts getting, they start getting success, one or two will try to drag them down. I mean, women do this to each other all the time, but sometimes guys do too. But it's like, I haven't really done much with critique groups, but what I've seen and heard about them, this is a thing, and that's part of the reason why I'm not interested in them.
Things are called. So they prevent the one crab from escaping to better things and keep them stuck in the bucket. That's what people around you will often try to do if you try to improve yourself, if you try to do something meaningful like write a novel. This is not necessarily done out of...
Huh. What do you think? Do you like the shelf that he's got here now better than the one in the last video of his I did? I think that's a nicer shelf, but is it the same room? It's definitely a nicer shelf. The paint in the background's better too. But yeah, it's definitely a better shelf. I'm sorry. Anyway.
Malice or negative reasons, though sometimes it is, but it can have negative effects. It can be scary when someone else in your peer group succeeds at something, because that means that you too could succeed at that thing if you put the work in. It's often easier to maintain the status quo and keep that person from succeeding, or to discourage them in some way that comes across as well-meaning. It's often easier to do that than it is to face the psychological ramifications that you too could be successful. This is why other people surrounding you, if you try to improve, will try to prevent you from improving. This is why I think joining a writing group or some kind of community, either in person or virtual, where people write and write consistently is so important.
Disagree, because the people who, I guess it depends on the group, right? There are so many writers who are petty and dumb and self-absorbed, and no. I disagree with his assertion that the reason for the crab in the bucket thing is because it's hard, and it shows you how hard it is that you could be doing. No, it's not that. Is that it shows the person who's doing the crab pulling down that they aren't doing what they could do, what they can be doing, and they know they can't. So I guess it's different. It's a different way of putting it from what he said. I guess he's being more charitable. Because really the crab in the bucket thing is malicious. So let's not be charitable about it. These guys know they could be doing more, they're not, and they get bitter when they see somebody else who is. And there's a lot of that in writing groups. So I'm not sure that writing groups are a good idea.
These types of groups will help pull you forward and encourage you to keep writing.
Only if you're in a group with people who are above your level. Right? If you're in a group with a bunch of other amateurs and nobody knows what the hell they're doing, they're not going to be able to pull you higher because they're in the same muck as you are. But if you manage to get yourself in a group with people who are, at a little bit higher level than you are, they are able to help bring you up because they know what it takes to get there. And also, they're not going to be threatened by you coming to where they are as much as somebody might be threatened by you exceeding them, if that makes any sense. Except that writers have a bunch of gamma male types who are threatened by anybody who might be even attempting to be better than them. So there's always going to be a danger. But the point is, just any writing group is not going to be a good idea. You got to pick and choose it.
Also, there can be kind of a reverse effect here where if everyone in your peer group is writing a novel, you will write one too because you don't want to fall behind. All right, the next person who is coming to destroy your novel, me.
That's true. How dare you, Carl?
That's right. I was the villain all along. That's why I'm wearing a black shirt now. Oh, I forgot to change my shirt. I played all of you for fools. This channel is actually an elaborate ruse to destroy every last one of your novel writing ambitions. Please remember to subscribe so that all my evil plans can come to fruition. We are living in a time where your eyeballs are incredibly valuable. As far as what content they're watching, not in a steal your organs and sell them on the black market sort of way. Every platform.
Although that would be cool from a writing prompt perspective. Yeah. It's not like in Hostel, where you lure the young guys into to the to the town with the murder pit by promising them hot girls. You lure the unsuspecting writers in with the promise of mutual support, and then you take their organs. Think that would work? Might be a little too on the nose. Anyway,
Platform, and every creator on those platforms, myself included, wants you to consume as much of their content as possible. More views means more reach means more dollar bills and fame and success and everything else that comes along with that. Now, I justify this to myself when I'm crying alone in the dark hallways of my cavernous mansion at night by saying that my content is meant to encourage people to write, that it helps people get off the hedonic treadmill of the internet and pursue something creative and constructive. I may just be lying to myself to remove the guilt around the wealth that my vast YouTube empire has created.
you are. You got 7.37 thousand subscribers. You are rolling in it, man. You're rolling in it. I know you are.
But I don't know, it sounds kind of good. The default state for most people is to become a consumer. You are bombarded every day by highly engineered content that is meant to suck hours out of your life. The best writers in the world are not on the New York Times bestsellers list.
Yeah, because that list is purchased. List hasn't been real for decades. It goes from a select few bookstores, and the publishers know which ones, and then they pay to put the books in the right place and where people can buy them. And sometimes they'll hire people to go buy the books from those specific bookstores in order to make the list for the books that they want to be on the list. It's totally fake. USA Today list is better, but New York Times has not been real in decades.
They're writing email headlines and ad copy and things designed to take your time and your money away from you. Breaking free from all of that requires focused effort and a lot of self-discipline. Until you can overcome that, writing a novel will be incredibly difficult. Until you can overcome the distractions and everybody who's trying to pull your attention away from your project, it's going to be incredibly hard to finish. And lastly, the last person who's coming to destroy your novel, you.
What? No!
That's right. We trace the sabotage, and it's coming from inside the writer. Does that joke still land? That would have been hilarious in 1999. For my
No, it wasn't funny even then. But I like a good bad joke, so good on you, brother.
younger viewers, there used to be this thing called the 20th century, and all the years started with 19. Wait, why was it called the 20th century then? That doesn't...
Dude, really?
The ability for a writer to completely mess up their own novel is astounding and terrifying. A lot of the responsibility for how your project turns out is ultimately on you. This filters down through every level of writing, all the way from whether you are actually sitting down to write or not, even down to what and how you write. When you avoid working on parts of the craft that don't interest you because you aren't good at them, you are the one standing in the way of your progress. When you ignore good feedback because it requires admitting that you were wrong about how to approach something, that's you blocking your own growth.
How dare you? How dare you, sir? Ignoring feedback. Who do you think I am, Eric July? Oh, I'm sorry. I had to get that thing in because, man, that guy is so thin-skinned. Anyway. Sheesh.
Even just your attitude towards this, if you believe that you have no power over the quality or quantity of writing that you produce, you're basically putting yourself in a situation where you can't win. You're telling yourself, you're making yourself believe that the external factors in the world have complete control over you, and there's nothing you can do to improve your writing or get more writing.
What are you talking about? You trying to tell... Are you trying to tell me that I'm in control of my own destiny? What?
Done. I don't think it's useful to debate how much external stuff versus internal stuff matters, but I think the attitude that your entire life and what you can do and what you can accomplish is completely driven by external factors, that attitude alone is very dangerous, especially when it comes to something like writing. At the end of the day, all that you have control over is the bag of meat that the electrical impulses coming from your brain are connected to. In my case, I have a bunch of like robotic arms and stuff that are wired into my brain, but that's beside the point. And if you don't have authority over that, or if you don't believe that you have authority over that, then what else can be done? You are basically setting yourself up for failure from day one.
Yeah, that's true. Like the Apostle Paul said, I beat my body and make it my slave. Right? He was talking about his pursuit of righteousness and doing God's will, but also but it applies for everything, right? He's talking about self-discipline, and self-control is a big thing in Christianity, and that's what he's talking about here too. So hey, good on you, Carl.
I've noticed this really insidious thing that a lot of the world does want you to succeed. A lot of the world is happy when you succeed at something. The world wants you to be successful, but oftentimes we ourselves, for whatever reason, don't want to be. So we don't put the time in, we don't put the work in, and that's ultimately on you at the end of the day. Well, it's on me for me, but on you for you get what I mean. Speaking of getting what I mean, I hope that throughout the course of this video you were getting what I mean or meant or whatever.
Yeah, we did.
I'd love to hear.
Yeah, we did. Anyway, that's Carl again. He's a good dude. Like I say, I generally find his videos to be kind of not always fun, but definitely got some insights that I can get from. And he's better at YouTube than I am, so always got to give props to somebody who's better than me.